10-year time skip.
空の世界は綺麗だ。
Oh.
中心というのは一番底辺ということだよ。なぜなら地球の中心が宇宙の一番底にあるからだ。
That's one way to see it.
君の見上げる夜空がいつも綺麗なのはこの汚れた大地から見上げているからだよ。空の世界は崇高で荘厳で偉大で広大で過当な地球ごとき
Oh my god. Talk about imagery.
夜空は素晴らしいよ。毎晩惜しみなく壮麗な輝きを見せてくれる。君は見ないのか？その目なら夜空も新鮮だろう。
He's sweating.
いえ、空を見るのは苦手で。
Fear of the church.
では仕事にかかろう。
Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. The opening changes from Rafal to Oski. I wonder what other changes are in the opening. The imagery of the eyes kind of make more sense now. That was Oski, beside the guy with the eye patch.
民間警備組合のものです。私が今回の証人を務めます。個人特定による報復を避けるためマスクの着用をお許しください。
Personal retribution, huh? Oh, wow. Oh, those smear frames?
では仕事なので。
Wow. Burn in hell.
汚れたこの世を好ましく思うのは不適切では。そんなことないよ。好きがいけないわけがない。この世に期待しなくなると我々の魂は瞬く間に濁ってしまう。好きとか夢とか希望とかそういうものは捨てちゃダメだ。
Coming from him, the one who was looking at the stars. Grass, was it his name?
期待したら裏切られるのが落ち。これが俺の心情です。鼻から諦めた方が傷が浅くて済む。というか、そもそも人生って全然楽しいこと起きないじゃないですか。天国最高、天国最高、天国最高。早く行きたい、早く行きたい、早く行きたい。つまり君はこの世に永遠とか完璧がないから何も信頼できないと？全然そ。だが私は見つけてしまったのだ。絶対の信頼を受ける希望をね。知りたいか？知りたいです。
Don't we all? The sad thing about Oxy is that a lot of people think that way.
気分を害したのなら申し訳ない。しかしこの店は我々組合の出入りも許可されている。
Guild
しば
members.
し勘弁願いたい。生まれてすいません、生まれてすいません、生まれてすいません、生まれてすいません、生まれてすいません。
やめろ、もういい。
Such low self-esteem. Really believes that the world and humanity is just... You know what I'm talking about. His face.
これがそれだ。火星の観測記録。
Oh.
火星？何ですかそれ？ああ、そこからか。
What is Mars?
もった私は修道士様に聞いてみた。 その動く星は惑星と呼ばれ。
Who's the monk?
すげえ。なかなかこじつけ解釈じゃ。
なかなかこじつけ解釈だね。
Oh.
たくましいとも言えるか。火星軌道の完璧な円環だって。
私の感動はどうしようと奪えない。好きなだけ笑うがいいさ。
No. Who's...
いやいや、邪魔して悪かったね。
Who are you?
観測を始めた時期が悪かった。じゃなきゃもっと前に気づけたのに。
ありえない。毎日2年間動いてたんだ。ついに今日火星が止まった。
おい、奥地。仕事終わりか。
ああ、いえ、これからです。
グロスはな、 昔はもっと普通なやつだったんだ。それがある時、疫病で家族みんな亡くしちまったな。
Oh.
さらにだ、絶望して自分の人生も終わらせようとしやがった。
Okay.
一番の悲劇はそこで死にきれなかったことさ。
Was that he failed to die?
その罪は教会で許してもらったが、
Huh.
だがここ 1,2 年で唐突に明るくなり始めた。わけを聞いたら観測を始めたんだと。
曲がった。あさっての方に醜く歪んだ。
Oh, beautiful shot.
今日は観測なしですか。まあね、君の言う通り天国を差し置いてこの世界で何かを期待するのは間違っていたのかもと思ってね。
You gotta keep trying, man.
異端者の移送警備か。
Oh,
異端者。
are we gonna see Novak? Hey, there he is.
民間警備組合が到着しました。
Yes.
我々も行きましょう、ノバクさん。
So glad that he's still here, man.
それにしても雨とはね、空が見えんのはいいか。
Oh, he looks at him. Is that the monk?
気の毒ですが、あなたの死刑は免れない。ですが、今からでも考え直して回収したらどうです？
教会が本当に君らを救うのか、そもそも彼らの言う天国など本当に存在するのか。
Notice how they were focusing on Oski's reaction and not Grass.
そうやって不安を煽り、我々を絶望へと突き放したいのだろう。
Grass already knows.
君らが絶望を突き放しているのだ。王は天国なんかなくてただ死んで終わりかも。そう思っているんだろう。
そんなこと思っています。
不安になるのはよくわかる。死後の予定が揺らぐのは辛いだろう。
もう黙ってください。
だがこの星は天国なんかよりも美しいということに。
There it is.
何をバカな。
君だって本当は信じたいだろ。今ここにある。今ちょうど見えるそこの山だ。すべての証拠は
Rafal's journal.
こに置かれた石箱の中にある。
All of his research.
事態を理解しているかね。どちらを選ぶも自由だ。さあ、どうする？
Oh, wow. Not surprising, actually, coming from Grass. Very dangerous since Novak is just like on the other carriage, though. But yeah. That's a title.
ノバクさん、前々から思っていましたが、その態度は何ですか？
Oh,
我々は神に仕え、
poor attitude. I did talk about how I was wondering if Novak's personality may change or if Rafal's final words will have any impact on him. Oh, that is so unfortunate.
にこけたな。
Whoa!
隙がない。
Oh, lovely shot.
この人強い。
I love the mood and the music as well.
負けました。俺が悪いです。許してください。
え？あれ、交戦中に降参って。
He wasn't expecting this. Oh!
歴史が君を必要としたからだ。頼む。
Oh, he's gonna give the yeah! He's gonna throw it. He is throwing it. Oh, saved?
一つ読めんだろう。異端になるのもない。
Well, give them a few weeks, a few months, a few years, you know, study literacy. They'll get there. I mean, we know Grass, for one, already has a book that he journals his findings on Mars and astronomy in general, right? So at least we know Grass has some form of literacy. Oski, maybe not so much. Title of the episode is making me worried that Grass is also gonna die in this episode. That was the book. Oh, that was the scene. That was the moment. At least the rain stopped so they can actually see the stars.
ちょっと開けてきましたね。
この辺りが中腹かもしれん。探そう。
There it is.
グラさん。
これか。
The music. For them, it's like opening Pandora's box.
こっちは手紙みたいです。二つあって日付が最近のと
Dated
10年前の。
dated recently.
はじめに、私はこの石箱の制作者ではない。ある時、視界や高度を考慮し、ここ一帯で一番の観測地を見つけた。すると不思議なことに気づいた。
Beautiful.
オリオンのベルトが掘られていた。そしてそれに対応するように、二つの岩の間にちょうど向こうの山の中腹が見える。
You feel their presence, Rafals.
結局箱を残したのが誰で、なぜ放置されていたのか。いきさつはわからない。そっちの手紙
読めません。文字ちゃんと習ってないので。
なんだ。
Chapter 2. Okay. New characters, a new journey.
捨てるのか。
ええ、傷んのですし気味悪くて。
しかし重要な手がかりだ。
Grass is gonna get.
私が引き継ごう。
Yeah.
さあ、行くぞ。
Grass is not gonna make it, dude.
この星空の秘密を捧げる。なお、これにより利益が生じた場合、その1割を元月に贈与すること。彼の協力は心強かった。住所はって結局内容は書かれてないな。この記録の量を見るに、ただの思いつきやほら話じゃない。本気の何かだろう。
Absolutely.
実は一人心当たりがある。
Oh?
私が惑星について尋ねた。
Oh, okay.
名は確かバデーニ。
Okay, that answers my question. My previous assumption was absolutely wrong. But
いや、混乱しててここまで来ちゃいましたけど、冷静になれば俺この先もついていく必要はあんまないというか、グラスさんが決めてくれますか。
will you decide for me? Oski, man.
空が見られないんです。
Because he fears it.
怖くて。
Yeah.
昔神父様に教わったんです。夜空が綺麗なのは汚れた底辺の地球から見上げてるからだと。大地に生きている人間を蔑むような目に見えて。
それ以前は空は見られたのかい。
むしろ多分好きでした。
もう一度空を見たいとは思わないのかい。
Music.
もちろんない。だが私も昔家族を失ってね。好きなものを失う辛さはわかるよ。
きっとグラスさんの場合は失われてませんよ。ご家族は今頃天国にいるはずです。
少し前までずっと愛しい家族を奪ったこの世を呪ってた。だが考えてみれば愛しい家族と出会えたのもこの世だ。
はい。この世で待っているのは喪失だけだ。しかも人はどうせすぐ死んで天国か地獄へ行くので、そっちを気にするべきです。
希望は天国にしかない。
Man.
なのになぜあの異端は 天国を遠ざけて命を懸けてまで。
We need to talk about Oxy.
いや、もしかしてそれが。この先の選択肢は2つ。1つは村に着いたら今回の経緯と石箱のことを教会に通報する。そうすれば町に戻れるかもしれないし、君は天国に近づく。
Wow.
2つ目は
Oh.
2つ目は1つ目全部無視してこの世界に期待することだ。そしていつか再びその目で空を見てくれ。
His final words to him.
そっちこそ何してるんですか。隠してる。
Wow.
隠すって誰に。俺ですか。期待されても困る。俺がやる保証なんて全くない。その通りだ。だが君はやる。
But you will.
君はまだ天国へ行くべきじゃない。君の顔はまだ死を恐れてるからだ。
Wow.
これが私の運命だ。
いやー、クラボフスキさんは優しいな。
いつも話し相手になってくれて。
この間やってきた副女祭の、ほら、誰だっけ。あの人とは大きな。
Ah, they're talking about.
まったく。
Are they talking about what's his name? Benedy?
お客さんですよ、バデーニさん。
Badeni.
そんな予定はないですが、どちら様、何の用で。
Oh, look at that. Oh. Beautiful frame to end the episode. We've been focusing a lot on his eyes since the last episode. Tells so much emotions. Tells so much about like his own personal view and his own fear. Okay, let's talk about episodes 4 and 5 of Orb on the movements of the Earth. You know, a new chapter, chapter 2, as episode 5 proclaims. Which again, like, I like the concept of this show being explored upon multiple generations. You know, which means, of course, you know, sure enough, we're not gonna be with Oxy. Sorry, names. Yeah, we're not gonna be with Oxy, you know, for the rest of the show. I'm fully expecting us to part ways with him, you know, sometime later in the show, maybe halfway through the show. But yeah, but having said that, it's such a really good premise, you know. It really is, because it's the moment when Gras and Oxy discovers, you know, the hidden you know, the hidden books, right, the hidden writings of Rafal, and when they open it for the first time and then they read Rafal's letter, and it's the moment when they have no idea who Rafal is as a character. That was the part that stings for me, but that was also the part that impacted me a lot during these first episodes, because again, like, we've only seen we've only been with Rafal for like 3 episodes, which, you know, compared to many other characters in many other forms of fiction, that's pretty short, especially in anime. You know, 20 minutes times 3, we're only with him for like an hour. But man, immediately you feel how much impact Rafal has, not just for the show, for the story, but also for the overall tone and overall, I guess, feeling, the atmosphere of the show, right? Because as Rafal says, it's not about him being dead or alive. It's about his work, his vision, his belief that is still alive, that still passes on, which, speaking of beliefs, pairing it up with the church as, I guess, like the main antagonist of the story, it's no coincidence, right? These two opposing beliefs, right, being, as I guess, like the centerpiece of this anime in terms of, like, I guess, one of its themes. But still, though, you feel Rafal's presence even though he is no longer with us, the audience, right? As a character, he's gone, but his work remains. You feel that. You kind of feel that same desire coming from Grass, coming from Oxy, right? And maybe from Badeni later on. But yeah, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Speaking of these two characters, Oxy and Grass, briefly talking about Grass, we've only seen him for like 2 episodes. Unfortunately, he dies. He passes away. It is what it is. The bridge collapse. Out of all of the deaths in the show thus far, him dying because a bridge collapses is, well, you could say that I didn't expect that. I wasn't really expecting it. Let's be real here. I'm just gonna be honest. Probably the most, in a way, a more, I was gonna say a more natural way of dying. Because in a way, this is just, nature being nature. Like, yeah, the bridge is too old. It's not gonna hold. It's time. It's just coincidental that he is there. As opposed to other characters who died because the Inquisition came to them. Novak came to him. Came to them and found them, executed them. The church just doing church things. Yeah. But in regards to that moment, before I talk about Oxy, in that moment when Grass gave Oxy the choice, the option of, like, you can just turn me in, you can just tell the church, tell everybody here of our discoveries, where that is, and you can be closer to heaven, or you can choose the second option, as he pulls out the book and say, you can choose this instead and continue on my legacy, my journey together, right? And as he fell, Oxy immediately grabs the book, right? Of course, first instinct is to save Grass, but thematically speaking, that is the show, that is the story basically telling you, hey, he is choosing option B. He is choosing the second option as he is grabbing the book, right? And I find that to be, a pretty clever moment, a pretty clever way to showcase immediately that Oxy has made his choice during that moment, even if he does not recognize it at the time. He doesn't realize it at the time. By the end of the episode, he absolutely knows what he wants to do next, right? And speaking of Oxy as a character, quite a character introduction as well. This character who used to stargaze, who used to look up to the stars, who used to, let's say, dream in a sense, right? But then the world came in and said, no, don't do that. don't do that. And immediately he's like, well, the world tells me no. The world, as in the church, tells me that what I'm doing is sinful, and I have sin, and the world is a cruel place, and we have no place in this world, and this is all just basically, he's all depressed. He has very low self-esteem. He pretty much sees that he is a low life that has that was cursed upon this world because Earth is pretty much hell at this point, and the only place that he can survive, the only salvation is the heavens above, which we cannot reach, right? And I mentioned this during the reaction, right? What is painful for me is this is a stance that a lot of people still have today, right? And I mean, if that's how you feel, fine. You know, if because at this point we're gonna be at this point the discussion would kind of pivot to one's own beliefs and one's own religion and what that religion entails, which is a pivot that I am trying to avoid as much as possible, but because the anime is pretty much going towards that direction, and the anime is pretty much going against that direction and telling you, no, don't do that, do this instead. It's kind of hard to do. It's a very touchy and sensitive topic, right? But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? That is how most beliefs form. I mean, the heretic pretty much told told us, the audience, and pretty much explained what I was trying to explain pretty bluntly within the episode, right? We form these beliefs because we are afraid, because we needed to find some form of comfort. We needed to find something that that'll keep us sane, right? Very bluntly, mind you, the way he presented it. And I don't think I need to re-explain that again. But yeah, it is a mindset that for our character Oxy, this is a mindset that has been chewing him, right? Because again, at the time, most people don't know any better, right? The advancements of technology, the advancements of our own understanding of the universe, of the cosmos itself, is still pretty, still very young, right? A lot of these things will not come into acceptance hundreds of years later in the future, right? So at the time, right now, and at the time of where the anime takes place, I mean, for Oxy, it's like he has no purpose, right? Because that is what he is told to believe. And Oxy himself, before all of this, is pretty obvious, right? I mentioned this before. He has very low self-esteem. He doesn't believe in himself as much. He thinks himself as lesser. The amount of times where he asks for grass to make his own decision, right? Grass telling him what to do, and then Oxy just says, well, I don't know what I do. Can you choose my life? Can you tell me the path in which I should follow, right? That is something that we need to change. That is something that the show is going to change for him. I believe it. I'm sure of it, right? Because by the end of episode 5, that is the first time in a long while where Oxy finally chooses for himself. This is a path that he wants to choose. This is a path that he wants to follow, to go to Badeni. Badeni? I need to go back and look at his name again. But you know what I mean. You know who I'm talking about. That is a choice that he has made. And that is a choice that is going to propel him into a character, into a person who is more individualistic. Not individualistic, but to be a person that is aware of his own individual, is what I'm trying to say. There's a fine line in being individualistic where one is just self-centric, which is not what you want to do. But you need to be aware that you are your own person, that you are your own self, right? That is like the main thing. That is something that Oxy needs to become in order to fulfill his character arc, in my opinion. At least that is where I see the story is gonna go. But beyond these two characters, Novak. I'm so glad that Novak's back. I talked about it by the end of my episode 3 discussion, where I feel and I hope that in the future we could see Novak again, which we have. And I was hoping that we see a different Novak, a slightly different Novak, a Novak whose life has been impacted by the final words of Rafal by the end of episode 3, which I feel like I'm getting hints of that through the dialogue when he was talking to the other guy in the carriage. Forgetting his name. But you know, they talked about like how Novak has been, has been a lot less. I don't want to say a lot less serious, but it seems that Novak is less serious about his work. I was trying to find the words. I forgot the specific. I forgot the specific wording that they used in the episode. But you know what I'm talking about. So I was wondering if that is just a throwaway line, or is it actually is there more? Is there something else here that we have not seen yet? Again, 10 years is a long time for a person to grow, a person to change, right? And especially for a character like Novak, who I absolutely believe is a far more deeper character than he lets on from the outside. I mean, just from his conversations with Rafal alone in the first, I guess, the first part of Orb, that already tells you a lot about like this character, this person. Like there's something in there, right? And we need to peel that open yet. But yeah, I'm just super glad that Novak is here. I cannot wait to see more of Novak throughout this journey. It would be if there's one thing that I think would be really, really cool, because we are doing this generation by generation, I do think it would be really cool if Novak stays for the entire show. Like he is going to be like the only character that is alive by the end. While the astronomers, the researchers, the people who are our protagonists are gonna die within every generation because maybe they get caught, burn alive, burn at the stake, whatever. Novak's gonna be the only one who's gonna stay alive, and I want by the end of the show for Novak to actually change his perspective. Like that would be cool. Not saying that that's gonna happen, but I just think that if they're gonna do that for Novak's character, I think that would be cool. Though I am not opposed for Novak to be just completely the inquisitor that he is from beginning to end. Like there's no salvation for him. That's also like a very possible a direction for his character. Again, thus far the show has been really good. I've been loving the show. I've been loving the characters, the music. Kensuke Ushio. Just really beautiful stuff. I'm very much invested in the story and the characters as well, which is something that I feel like the show has the upper hand, because for a show to pretty much have the overall foundation of its characters to be okay, you're not going to be spending the entire story with these characters. Like me learning about Oxy right now, I know sometime in the future, I don't know when that is, but I know he's not going to make it out. I don't think any of the characters that we see in this specific arc is going to make it out alive. Right? We're going to be continuing our journey with a new set of characters maybe in like the second half of the show. And yet I am invested. I know that I'm not going to be spending much time with these characters, and yet I am invested nonetheless, which is something that I feel like, as I said, is a strong point for the show. In order for them to, elicit this level of investment from me as an audience member, because, I talked to some friends about Orb after I watched episode 1, 2, and 3. I talked about them. I talked to them, and some of them mentioned how they find it baffling that the main character dies very early on, and they kind of mention how, well, who's gonna continue the story after that? The main character is dead. And I'm like, but that's not really the point though, is it? Like, it's not just a main character, it's a main theme, right? It's a main idea. And that is the thing that these characters are trying to preserve, that are trying to push to the world, right? It's the theme, it's the idea, it's heliocentrism, right? So yeah, I'm enjoying the show a lot. I'm enjoying the show a lot. Move the
いない顔
world.
だな。
そこまで案内したく。
血の匂いだな。君、傭兵か。我が私は聖職者だ。
Look at that.
このまま一定の距離を保つように。
Immediately knows.
君の話は私の人生を大きく変えると言えるか。そう断言できないものに時間を割きたくない。
Is he almost blind? Or is it just the color of his eyes?
わかりません。
あ？内容がわからない？じゃあなぜ私に見せようと？
Can't read.
なぜ逆光からの記録がない？
その逆光とかいうのに心を痛めて。
そもそも惑星って名前自体が惑う人。プラネーテ
Oh, that's a beautiful shot.
軌道は惑うに決まってるだろう。何かと思えば全く。なんで私はこんなところに。
The way that final shot was focusing on his eye patch makes me wonder what actually happened to him. Like, did he lost his eye a long time ago, perhaps, when, before he became a priest? Like, the church found out about him, took his eye out, preventing him to be able to look at the stars properly.
3校以上の上級大学から推薦されているもののみです。
我々は神に仕える仕事をする選ばれし集団だ。その前提で言うぞ。
Oh.
君は圧倒的だ。
ええ、修道院長。
すごいな。
Interesting, we're looking at his past.
何度言えばわかる。ここでは想定を超えた勉強は許されない。
Yeah.
規律通りに行動しろ。むち打ち1回。自分でやれ。
Jesus. Punish yourself. Whoa. Wow.
懲罰と引き換えに勉強の自由を得られる限りは
Woo.
愚かだな。
特別にする瞬間、私を偉大にする瞬間、
Whoa.
私が歴史を動かす瞬間ですよ。
Interesting.
そんな傲慢な態度のままでは特別などにはなれん。
月より下のこの大地は不完全で生成消滅を繰り返し予測不能の運動をする。しかし月より上の展開
The light from the candle, the sun, the fire at the center.
そんなことはありえない。ならばここには人類が気づいていない理由が隠れてるはずだ。
I love the lighting in this scene, by the way.
理由などない。
With the single light source, beautiful atmosphere.
うちの図書室に厳重に保管してる異教異端者たちの金賞。
Whoa.
違っても金賞を読もうなどと思うな。体罰では済まんぞ。
どうするんです？
目玉を焼く。
Well, that answers my question. Oh, look at that.
なんでこんな誰にでもできること？私にふさわしくない。
Interesting line there. Anyone could do this.
まったく不用心な。
Oh.
そんな院長に思慮深さを解かれたくなど。
What is he gonna find?
あの表紙。
It's not the book, is it?
この小口の刻印。やっぱり金書だ。
It's not, but
宇宙に関する禁忌。自分だって 好奇心に弱いじゃないか。
No, the abbot put there deliberately. This is a test for him. Yeah.
私の部屋で何をしている？それを置いて立ち去れ。うちの修道院から目つぶしされたものなど出すわけにはいかん。
本を開くのは一瞬でしょう。でも私はずっと待ってた。
Whoa.
特別な一瞬を。
The red. The forbidden fruit of knowledge. Oh. Oh. Flew too close to the sun. Oh my god. The visual presentation, though. Beautiful.
俺夜空が見られないんですけど。
申し訳ないが、
I can't look at the sky and I also cannot read.
暇はない。では、
But this event is forcing him to do so, right? To face your fears.
元の町に帰れなくても流れ物として別の町で一から人生を始めればいい。元よりこの世界において苦しいのは当然。ここを耐えれば俺には死後天国がある。そうだ、天国だ。
You want to go to heaven, but you cannot look at it. Oh.
うん。初めてにしては上出来だ。
Hey, it's baby steps.
これは宇宙が変わるぞ。
宇宙が変わる。
Wow.
大丈夫だ。今吐き出したのはくだらん常識と積み上げた思い込みだ。それどころか人類に理解可能に宇宙を作った。確かに教会では少し問題があるが、いや、適切な解釈を見つければ公表も不可能ではないか。アリストテレスの同心球理論とプトレマイオスの理心円終点円理論の乖離とそれぞれの欠点の指摘。
I don't think Oxy understands a single word that is coming out of Badeni's mouth here.
地球は動いている。
全然動いてないですが。
だな。一つ実験をしよう。例の観測日誌を見て、ここ2年の火星の軌道を描いてくれ。人類はこの原因を解明することは諦め、せめて計算は可能にしようと努めた。その結果、理論は複雑化し、用いられる仮説も増えた。でも実際は違ったんだ。
何してるんです？
宇宙を再現してる。
Man, this music.
わからないか。私を火星、君を地球としたときに、君からはどう見えた？地球の君から見て火星の私は後ろに逆行して見える。そして完全に追い越してしまえば再び前進しているように見える。君、この話の意味がわかる。
Oh, beautiful shot once again.
石箱は人類に説いている。
Yeah, a lot to wrap around the head of someone like Oxy here.
地球と一緒で汚れてると。
もしくは
It's as beautiful as the heavens.
底辺として切り離されてなどなく、当の昔からあの美しさの一員だったのかもしれない。
違う。一つ。なんて。
Wow, he's not seeing the eyes anymore. He's seeing the beauty once again. Dude, this is so good.
今日の空、なんか綺麗じゃないですか。
世界を動かせ。
Oh man. Oh, that's the end of the episode. That flew by. That flew by. I cannot wait to see their journey, man. Oxy and Badeni has the potential to be like these two, you know, an incredible duo, to say the least. I see it. I see the potential, you know. They're gonna be best friends. Okay, episode 6 of Orb on the Movements of the Earth. Immediately what I'll say about this episode, and I guess the proper introduction of Badeni as a character, is that we are going to be following two characters, right? Badeni and Oxy. You know, we're following two characters that essentially are similar in many ways, right? These two characters, these are characters who used to love the stars, who used to love to see the heavens above. But then something happened in their lives, specifically the church happened, where their dreams are essentially being crushed. Their dreams are essentially being they are told not to do that ever again, right? And it's only due to this chance encounter where the both of them met that their passion has been reignited again. And I find that to not only be beautiful, but I also find this to be an excellent um 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 an excellent introduction to what could otherwise be an incredible friendship between the two of them, right? Because during this episode, during these final moments, they both help each other out, right? Oxy leading Badeni to the stone box and letting him see the and having Badeni see all of these all of these books, these findings, and which again reignited Badeni's own personal dream, his own personal ambition, his own personal view of the heavens above, and that in turn helps Oxy to be able to actually see the stars again and not be terrified, right? The moment when he looks up and he's not looking at eyes anymore. He's not being seen. He's not being looked down upon, right? Instead, he sees himself equal to the stars. That's just beautiful. I love that. It's really good. It's just good. It's just really good. And Badeni himself as a character, you know, I talked a bit about Oxy in the previous episode discussions, but Badeni here has been given a flashback. We are given a backstory on who Badeni is. My question on like, I wonder what happened to his eye immediately got answered in this episode, and quite an introduction actually. That moment when his eye was about to be burned, terrifying, but also beautifully well put together in terms of like the visual presentation. And I mentioned this throughout that entire section, right? I love that we have been using a single light source throughout the entire thing. You know, the candle, which in my eyes represent, you know, the sun, right? The fire, and with Badeni being burned, you know, his eyes being burned, as I mentioned during the reaction, kind of feels like he flew too close to the sun, right? And I guess that's like the thing that I don't know how they're gonna handle it. I don't know how or if they're gonna touch upon it, but eventually they need to figure out that the sun is also moving, right? Like baby steps, of course, obviously. First they need to figure out that the earth is not actually the center of the universe. Then now they are in now they're trying to find a way or trying to prove, well, I guess they've already gotten the proof that every celestial body is moving around the sun right now in different paces, right? Different speed. They need to figure out that the sun is also moving. They need to figure out that the sun is also moving and the sun is actually rotating around a giant, massive, super black hole at the center of our galaxy. But that's like maybe they're not gonna discover black holes until like a couple hundred years in the future, unfortunately. But it's just fun to be able to watch these characters discover the rules and the ways of the universe, and in a way also presenting this as education as well, like they're discovering something that is otherwise real and true and factual in the actual world, right? This isn't just a history lesson in terms of like how astrology or astronomers during this time period is getting, being hunted down, persecuted, not, and whatever. But it's also a really, really good way of just telling people of like, hey, this is how the universe works, right? Like, I mean, I don't know how exactly accurate they are, but I'm just gonna assume that it is actually pretty accurate. Like, as far as I'm concerned, right now there hasn't been a single point where I'm like, maybe that's wrong, but no, I think they've done their research, especially the manga, the mangaka, like, and keep in mind, of course, like this is based on how these characters are able to find and interpret these these celestial findings with very little information, right? With the minimal information that they know, which is why it's really, really cool to see how much we have progressed in terms of like our discovery from when we first met Rafal to now, and we still have like 20 plus more episodes to come, right? But of course, the discovery of heliocentrism and the answer of the universe is merely that is not really why I'm here, if I'm being honest. That's just like a fun goal to have. Really, it's the characters. Really, it's the world and how these characters are living and how they're trying to not only find the answer, but to hold on to this belief. Baldeni and Oxy so far has been really, really great as characters, as far as I'm concerned, and we're only like 3 episodes into their introduction. But I'm already loving them. Badeni in particular, I find to be a really interesting character. Perhaps maybe a bit more than Oxy, if I'm being honest. Like, Oxy feels more like a not mean I don't mean this as a negative, by the way, but Oxy just feels more like a standard character. Like he is a character that fits the bill, if that makes sense. He feels like a protagonist, if that makes sense. He's like, yes, this is the character that didn't want to believe, but now believes and now wants to continue to believe, right? Whereas Badeni is, maybe it's because of his age, right? Badeni feels more like an older version of Oxy in the sense that he has believed in the past, and he still remains with his belief. It's just that he could not express it as much because of fear, right? Or not necessarily fear, but I guess more so, how do I put this? Complacency, I guess. But yeah, but then he feels more. But then he's the type of character who stays true to his conviction, but he's just keeping it to himself. Whereas with Oxy, he is lying to himself by saying that, oh yeah, what I believe is wrong. The Earth is at the bottom. That's what they told me, so that's what I'm gonna tell myself. Right? That's Oxy, right? Whereas with Badeni, he knows, he stays true. He just doesn't want to tell people anymore because, the church's gonna do church things. But he did tell our boy Gras, that's for sure, right? But yeah, I'm sensing great things from the both of them. Novak gonna be an issue though. That's gonna be an issue. But yeah, really cool, really cool. Super excited to see what else that we have in store in the world of Orb on the movements of the Earth. But thus far, these two characters, I'm loving them.